Hello everyone and welcome. In this video, we are going to focus on the verb to prefer. And we are going to study the other phrases that has the same meaning, just like itself, to prefer. Okay, of course, they have, we are going to use them both to express what we want to do, both in present, all in present, future, and past. Let's see what they are. Yes, what the word prefer and other expressions that are used like the word prefer. Okay. Yes, hello and welcome back. Yes, of course, if you look it up in the dictionary, prefer has got a lot of synonyms. Okay, for example, to select, to pick up something, to choose, to prefer. But of course, we also need some phrases, terms to be able to use to give the same message, all in present, future, and past. Okay. Now, which one to choose? Which one to prefer? Which one to pick? Which one to opt? Yeah. Which one to choose? It is a matter of which one you will choose. Yes. Which one you will choose, as you know, becomes which one to choose in the reduced form. Yes. It's a matter of which one to choose, or it's a matter of which one you will choose, this one or that one. For example, I prefer this one to that one. But for example, we will see that I would rather this one than that one. We will study them like this. Okay, what am I to choose? What am I to prefer? What am I to opt? What am I to pick? What am I to select? Yeah. What am I to choose? Says someone, and the other one answers, you have to pick one. You have to pick one. Or you just pick one, please. Don't wait. Okay, you have to pick one. You must pick one of them. Okay, prioritize means consider as more important. What is the difference between prioritize and prefer? Let's see the difference. Prioritize means consider as more important than the others. So you prioritize this one because you say that this one is more important than the others. Consider doing first. Yes, prefer means liking more than the others. You say that I like this one more than the others. So let's ask this question. Do we focus on what is important or what we like? We should focus on both, I think. Yes, we should focus on both what is important and what we like, especially what is necessary. Yes, we should focus on what is necessary and then what we like. Do you have a preference? One of the gifts say, do you have a preference? Yeah, do you have a choice? Do you have a preference? You have a choice. Second one says, you have a choice. You have got a choice. Okay, there is a choice in your mind. The gift on the right, focus on what's important. So, according to this lady, focusing on what is important is more important than the other. So prioritizing, she prefers prioritizing. Okay, maybe before preferring something, we should prioritize them. We should put them in order of importance, in order of necessity, for example. Maybe then we prefer. Okay. Now the one in the middle says, nobody is too busy. It's just a matter of priorities. Nobody is too busy. It's just a matter of priorities. Yeah, it has an idea. Maybe it's just a matter of likes and dislikes. What do you prefer to what? What do you prefer to what? Okay, I prefer drawing to talking. Do you see? This is a very basic point of this presentation, one of the basic points of this presentation today. I prefer doing something, verb ing. I prefer doing something to doing another thing. I prefer being something to being another thing. I prefer having something to having another thing. This is really important. Okay? For example, I prefer drawing to talking. Now, trip 7, preferences. Prefer plus verb ing to verb ing, or prefer plus noun to noun. Prefer object pronoun to. I prefer him to her. Okay, I prefer Ahmet to Murat as a doctor, for example. Object pronoun to object pronoun. Okay, noun clause to noun clause. I prefer how I will do something to what I will do. Does it have a meaning? Yes, I think it has an opinion in it. Yes, I prefer how I will do something to why I will do or what I will do something. Yes, okay. It is used to express a general preference. General preference is important. GP, general preference, which refers to present, future, or past, depending on the tense of the prefer. Yes, we can use I will prefer, for example. I will prefer the cheapest car tomorrow to the expensive cars when I go to the car fair. Okay. Yesterday, I preferred a pigeon to a budgie, for example. I preferred, okay. Present for present and future, of course. I prefer drawing to painting in general. So this is my general preference, general choice. This is my general choice. This is my general option. I prefer drawing to painting. To here is preposition. I prefer drawing to painting. This is one of the basic points of this presentation. Okay. You are what you choose. So be wise. Choose wisely and do wisely. Yes, be, do, have. Be wise, choose wisely, and do wisely. Have wisdom. Okay. Choose wisely or lose. Or you will lose if you don't choose wisely. Okay. Emailing or texting. Which one do you prefer? Okay. I prefer emailing to texting. Or, for example, but I know that you prefer texting to emailing. How to send a GIF in Gmail. Okay, here is a message. Here is someone sending messages, texting messages. Okay. Okay. Now, dialogue 1. Turgut always prefers sending emails to texting messages. GP. general preference, not specific, okay? This is the habit of Turgut. Which one of them does Ayten prefer? Ayten Hanım prefers texting to emailing. Okay, or sending email. 2. Angela prefers emails to letters. Yes, general GP, general preference. 3. Nicholas prefers writing letters to sending emails. Okay. My friend Jason prefers watching the animals in the wild to keeping them as a pet. Ayten prefers folk music to pop music all the time. This is her preference. This is her habit. Okay. So we can also change it like this. Ayten prefers listening to folk music to listening to pop music all the time. Again, to his here preposition. Ayhan prefers rock music to them pronoun, to them, object pronoun. Do you prefer what Angela prefers or what Nicholas prefers? So I prefer what Angela prefers. I don't prefer what Nicholas prefers. Noun clause. Okay. Tina prefers cycling to driving. Tina prefers cycling to driving. Prefer plus two verb. One is also possible, but this time, okay, this is really essential. Pay attention, please. This time we don't use to, okay? This one to this one. No, here, this one rather than this one. Okay. Prefer, again, only prefer, but with infinitive. Prefer to verb one rather than verb one. Okay. For example, I prefer to play football rather than watch it at times. Yeah, this is also a little bit confusing and it is also possible. I prefer to play football rather than watch it. After rather than, you don't see to, but here I prefer to watch, to play football rather than watch it at times. Gülben prefers to sing songs rather than listen to them. Okay. Just only prefer, and it again also expresses the general preferences, GP, but this time we use infinitive. I prefer to play. Gülben prefers to sing. Gültekin prefers to meet people rather than chat people on the internet. You should prefer to cook vegetables with meat rather than cook meat with vegetables. I should prefer, or I should choose, I should opt, I should decide, I should pick, I should select, to be sincere, to do good sincerely, and to have sincerity, rather than pretend to be, to do, and to have something. So the given on the left says, what is it that you like? What is it that you like? What is it? Okay. You must choose, but choose wisely. Yes, you must choose. You cannot live without choosing, but choose wisely. Okay. 11, I always prefer, simple past tense, for example, I always preferred marbles to toy cars when I was a child. GP, yes. I always preferred playing with marbles to playing with toy cars when I was a child. I always preferred verb ing gerund to another gerund. I always preferred playing with marbles to playing with toy cars when I was a child. I always prefer to play with marbles rather than play with toy cars when I was a child. Now, with infinitive, I always prefer to play, okay? To play with marbles rather than, rather than play with toy cars when I was a child. Again, GP, general preference. I used to prefer marbles to toy cars when I was a child. I used to prefer playing with marbles to playing with toy cars when I was a child. I think it's clear. I used to prefer to play with marbles rather than play with toy cars when I was a child in the past. I will prefer in the future, for example, I will prefer computer games to outdoor games when I become old. Yes, I will prefer noun to other noun or nouns. I will prefer playing computer games to playing outdoor games when I become old. Okay. Prefer gerund to another gerund form of a verb. I will prefer to play, now infinitive. I will prefer to play computer games rather than play outdoor games when I become old. 20, I prefer noun clause to, okay? Another noun clause. I prefer how to do something to what I do. Okay. I prefer, this is my habit. I prefer how to do something to what I do. I prefer them to him. Okay. Object pronoun. I prefer them to him. Now, Roman number 2, would rather plus verb 1, then. Would rather, again, attention please, would rather plus verb 1 and then, only then, not rather than. Maybe because there is already a rather after would, okay? I would rather play than watch a football match, for example. Okay. It is used to express specific preference which refers to present or future. The subject of would rather and subject of the following verb are the same, for example, in the following sentences. She would rather play mini golf than watch it today. So specific preference. She would rather play mini golf than watch it today. Specific preference. SP. Metin would rather football than volleyball today. SP. Jale would rather study medicine than go abroad. Jale would rather study medicine than go abroad. This year or next year, about present and future. Okay, I would rather fish than swim tomorrow. I would rather fish than swim, okay? Julia would rather watch a film on TV than read a book tonight. Specific preference. I would rather you than them. I would rather how you will do something than what you will do. So how you will do something is important for me. 8, we would rather what we speak than what we eat. We would rather what we speak than what we eat. So let's give importance to what we speak. 9, we would rather what we'll speak than what we'll eat. We prefer this noun clause to that noun clause, or we would rather this noun clause than that noun clause. We would rather what we'll speak than what we'll eat. But we prefer what we'll speak to what we'll eat. Okay, let's speak first. Okay, would rather someone. This is also interesting. Yeah, it reminds me wish clause. Okay. I would rather someone work too. Okay, it is really interesting. Now B. It is used to express a specific preference which refers to present or future. Yes, this is important. Present or future, although the verb is in simple past form. For example, I would rather, somebody. I would rather my son worked outdoors this year. Okay, this year, next year, worked, worked too. Two, I would rather you explain them everything tomorrow. Okay, I would rather you explain them everything tomorrow. This is really interesting. Okay. I would rather you painted. I would rather you painted pictures than dreamed of the future right now. Peter would rather Julia. Peter would rather Julia watched a play. Watched a play at the theater today than wrote a story. Than wrote a story. Okay. Word two, word two. Would rather have word three. It is used to express a specific preference which refers to past. Okay, this is about the past. Okay, how like this? The subject of would rather and the subject of the following verb are the same. For example, I would rather have. I would rather have played mini golf than have again. Have slept under the trees yesterday. So past preference. Okay. Amanda would rather have discussed the matter than have been quiet. So what was Amanda's choice? Amanda's choice was this one. Amanda would rather have discussed the matter. Amanda would rather have discussed the matter than have been quiet. He would rather have given more pocket money to his children yesterday. Yes. He would rather have given more pocket money to his children yesterday. Past preference. Julia would rather have read a book than have watched a film on TV last night. With would rather. But of course, with prefer, for example, Julia preferred reading a book to watching a film yesterday. It is also possible. Okay. Would rather someone plus had word three about the past again. It is used to express a specific preference which refers to past for someone else. The subject of would rather and the subject of the following verb are different. For example, I would rather my son. Okay? I would rather my son had visited Muğla last summer. Past preference for someone else. So I would rather my son had visited Muğla last summer. Peter would rather Julia had read a book yesterday than had written a story. I would rather you had taken me to the art gallery yesterday. I would rather you had taken me to the art gallery yesterday. Roman number three, would prefer. What about would prefer? Just like would like, for example. Want. Would like means want, but would prefer means prefer. Okay. Would prefer is used to express specific preference which refers to present or future. For example, she would prefer to watch, okay, now or tomorrow. She would prefer to watch a detective story. Now, this is important, rather than read a detective book tomorrow. Okay. She would prefer to watch. Just like she would like to watch. Okay. She would prefer to watch a detective story rather than read a detective book tomorrow. Burak would prefer to work rather than play. Now, Burak would prefer to work rather than play now. 3. I would prefer to cycle to work rather than drive to work. 4. Tuğrul would prefer to visit a website rather than go to a library today. I would rather listen to rock music than watch a film today. What would you rather do today? I would rather read a detective story rather than I would rather read a detective story than, okay, not rather, because there is also a rather. I would rather read a detective story than watch a detective film. Okay. Three, I would prefer to stay. I would prefer to stay here and to watch the weather slowing rather than go out and play. It's so simple. I would prefer to stay here and to watch the weather slowing rather than go out and play snowball right now. What would you prefer to do now? I would prefer to draw pictures. I would prefer to draw pictures rather than paint pictures. 4, I prefer eating fish to eating hamburgers because hamburger is unhealthy. This is my habit, general preference. What do you prefer eating in general? Why? I prefer eating fish in general because eating fish is my favorite. 5, I prefer to watch. I prefer to watch documentaries and quiz shows rather than watch war stories because you can learn a lot of things about the others and their cultures from them. What type of films do you prefer to watch in general? Why? Uh, I I prefer to watch, just like the example sentence, I prefer to watch detective stories than watch romantic stories because rather than, sorry, not them, yes, I prefer to watch detective stories rather than romantic stories because you can see some details in using your logic in detective stories. Okay. 6, I would rather have exercised at the gym yesterday. I would rather have exercised at the gym yesterday. What would you rather have done yesterday? Yes, I really advise you to produce hundreds of sentences. Yeah. Yes, I would rather have, sorry, I would rather have bought a bicycle yesterday. I would rather have written a story yesterday, etc., etc. I would rather Peter were to, but about the present and future. I would rather Peter traveled by his own car than a bus today. What would you rather Julia did today? What would you rather Julia did today? I would rather I would rather Julia cooked fish today. Okay. 8. I would rather Peter had visited Galata Kulesi last month. What would you rather Julia had done last month? I would rather Julia had visited the clock tower last month. Okay. When clock tower? Yes. Galata Tower, clock tower. Okay. 9A. I would rather have written a story than have written a novel 10 years ago. What would you rather have done than have done something else? So I would rather have written a book in English than have written a book in Turkish. I would rather have traveled by train than have traveled by car yesterday. Yes, I would rather have traveled by train than have traveled by car yesterday, because trains are safer and more environmentally friendly than cars. What would you rather have traveled by yesterday? Why? I would rather have traveled by a bicycle yesterday, because they are very practical, and bicycles are easy to be parked. Yes, easy. They are really easy to be parked. Okay, now quiz time. Okay, question 1. I would rather blank money than blank a credit card when I go shopping. So I would rather spend money. I would rather spend money than use a credit card. Yes, I would rather verb 1, spend, and then verb 1 again. I would rather spend money than use a credit card when I go shopping. To check out a fish yesterday, so did Tuğrul. Yeah, we say so did Tuğrul. Means Tuğrul also caught a fish yesterday. Tuğrul caught a fish yesterday too. Tuğrul caught a fish as well, or just like this, so did Tuğrul. Betül wasn't at the meeting. Betül wasn't at the meeting. Betty wasn't either. Yeah, Betty wasn't either. 4. My friend enjoys walking and playing table tennis, but I don't. 5. Will Tulin's husband be there too? Yes, I think so. Will Tulin's husband be there too? Yes, I think so. Okay, now vocabulary building time. Let's try to enrich our vocabulary. Let's try to increase our vocabulary, yes, by focusing on the idioms. Those idioms and proverbs are really meaningful and full of wisdom. For example, and they tell a lot of things with a few words. Okay, for example, heart of stone, heart of stone, of someone, about someone who shows no compassion. Yes, we are going to make sentences with them in the following pages. Heart of gold, yeah, heart of gold, heart of stone, heart of gold. Again, of somebody with a very kind nature. As good as gold, very well behaved. Yeah. A rotten apple is negative meaning. Lame duck, somebody who is weak and unable to do anything by himself. Yes. Have one's heart in the right place means mean well that someone is really a kind person. Okay. Have one's heart in the right place. A pain in the neck, of course, negative character. For example, Mehmet, Mahmud, Ahmed, anyway, that person is a pain in the neck. Okay. A wolf in sheep's clothing, somebody with evil intentions who seems harmless. Okay, okay. Keep the wolf from the door. Keep the wolf from the door. Earn just enough money to buy the basic things you need. Okay, have a level head, a really positive meaning, has a really positive meaning. Be calm and sensible. Yes. Have a head for figures. Be good at arithmetics. Wouldn't hurt or wouldn't harm a fly. Wouldn't, both are possible. Let me copy wouldn't as well. Okay, wouldn't hurt or wouldn't harm. Wouldn't harm a fly means somebody who is harmless, doesn't give any harm to anybody and anything. Okay, speak your mind. Speak your mind. Speak means speak openly, yeah. Speak openly. Speak your mind. Tell people exactly what you think, even if it offends them. Fatih would like to express his views on this personal problem. Who else would like to speak his mind? Mahmud also would like to speak his mind, speak openly. Turgay tends to have a heart of stone. Turgay, yeah, it is really impolite to say Turgay Turgay has a heart of stone, okay? Instead of saying like this, it is better to say it in this way. Turgay tends to have, okay? Turgay tends to have a heart of stone. And from time to time, maybe we should also add from time to time. Okay, not always. Who is the doctor with a cruel character? Who is the doctor with a cruel character? Yes, Mahmud is the doctor with a cruel character, maybe. Yes, that doctor has tends to have a heart of stone, maybe. I know a doctor with a heart of gold. I know a doctor with a heart of gold. That doctor has got a heart of gold. Who knows a doctor that has a heart of gold? Yes, a very kind character. Yes, my friend Cemil knows a nurse that has a heart of gold. Okay. A terrible gossip ruined Ferhat's life. Who knows who was that rotten apple? Yeah, a gossip is also a noun and a verb and is the person, okay? For example, that person is a gossip, okay? So who knows who was that rotten apple who gossiped about Ferhat's private life recklessly? Okay, my neighbor knows who was that rotten apple, who gossiped about Ferhat's private life recklessly. Okay. Tuncay told me he would fix my TV lamely. Why do they say he's a lame duck? Why do they say he's a lame duck? Why? Because he do things lamely, without attention. I believe that Furkan's heart is in the right place. Why don't you believe that his project will not work? Okay, have one's heart in the right place. I believe that Furkan's heart is in the right place. Why don't you believe that his project will not work? Although he is a good person, although his heart is in the right place, I know that he hasn't got enough proficiency. He hasn't got enough proficiency to finish that project. You can't start to open and run a business with Narin because he can be a pain in the neck. Isn't it that is a pain having to deal with problems all the time? Yes. So you stop your work and you start being interested in that problematic person. If a person is problematic, he is a pain in the neck. Okay. I think Ertan doesn't pretend to be friendly. He is friendly. He is really friendly. Who do you think is a wolf in sheep's clothing? I think that person is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Okay. He pretends to be good. Tran works part-time at a restaurant to keep the wolf from the door. Why do Kerem work full-time in a computer company? Yes, he also works full-time in a computer company to keep the wolf from the door. Okay. How to be good at math and science? Khalid has a head for figures, means or Khalid is good at arithmetic. Who always has a level head? Who is always calm and sensible? Yes. Mahmoud is always calm and sensible, or in another word, Mahmoud always has a level head. How level-headed are you? Oh, yeah. How level-headed are you? Congratulations. How level-headed you are? It changed like this. Now this question, how level-headed are you? I am quite or very much level-headed, or you are very level-headed. So congratulations. How level-headed you are, period. Okay, you cannot make me believe that Nazif is brutal because he wouldn't hurt a fly. Why don't you see that he is so kind, considerate, and sensitive to people's feelings? The image says, this phrase applies to someone who is very kind and gentle. Yes, because he or she wouldn't hurt a fly. I think they are too small. There's a caricature about wouldn't hurt a fly, but okay. Yeah. We can do it like this. Okay, this one says, oh, please, you wouldn't hurt a fly. He did something wrong, I think. And this one will punish him. So he says, first he says, oh, please, you wouldn't hurt a fly. Okay. You are right. You are right. I am a sensible person, a calm person, because a fly is an innocent creature that never knowingly did anything to anybody wrong. You, how about you? However, I would hurt you because you are not an innocent. You are not an innocent fire. Fly, sorry. Yes. Okay. Put the wind up. Put the wind up means startle. Yeah. Put the wind up. Get the wind up. The opposite. Yeah. Put the wind up active. Get the wind up. Get the wind up passive. Okay. Startle, be startled. Become anxious or frightened. Linda really put the wind up Andrew. This is Andrew. Linda really put the wind up Andrew by opening the door hard. Who put the wind up Musa by slamming the door hard? Yes, Ahmed put the wind up Musa or startled Musa by slamming the door hard. Linda really startled Andrew by opening the door. So Andrew was really startled by Linda. Okay. The moment of startling. Startling. Okay, thank you very much. I hope it was useful to you. And see you next time.